Good morning, everybody. I'd like to thank, first of all, Eduardo and Nicole Marascalci, our dear producer of all these videos that we put on Zoom. He's dedicating the Dvar Torah today in for Parshat Eikev to his dear mother, Maria Daria Fignanani, a very special lady. Just listening to what he had to say about her, really a woman of values, a woman who was a very special teacher, and she was so special and so dedicated in her teaching that she was asked by the government to be some sort of teacher for inmates in the prison. So may her memory be blessed, and again, a very special lady who was, because of her values, because of her great passion and love for teaching, she was called to teach people who were mamash at the lower ends of society and somehow to uplift them. Parshat Eikev is a unique parasha in that I think that there's one theme that unites this very, very long sidra. And what I'd like to do is just to share with you maybe what is the one theme, the one principle which governs the whole of Parshat Eikev. I want to just set out what exactly Parshat Eikev speaks about. I've done it according to the way that Rav Aryeh Kaplan, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, in his Chumash, the headings that he gives to the various sections of the parasha, and then to see what is common to all these parts. So the first part, Vaya Eikev Tishma'un, the beginning of the Sedra speaks about the rewards of a person who keeps the Torah meticulously. The second section, after about 5-6 psukim, the next section deals with confidence, because the psukim start off by saying, Ki tomar b'lvavecha rabim hagoyim ha'eli mimeni eicha uchal leorisham. The next parasha starts off, you might say to yourself, the nations that we are about to conquer, they're so much more numerous than us. There's so many of them. How in the world are we going to drive them out? So then Hashem says, remember the miracles, remember how you were outnumbered and how against all odds Hashem, so to speak, took you out of Mitzrayim, so don't worry. Okay, the next section starts off with, okay, now you'll conquer Eretz Israel, and Hashem describes the greatness of and the beauty, the what is so unique about Eretz Israel, and it says in the psukim that it's a good land, it's an abundant land. And then we've got the famous psukim which speak about v'achalta v'savavta v'arachta Hashem lokecha al haaretz hatofa asher natan lach, that you should eat, you'll eat satisfied, and you must bless Hashem for the good land that He has given you. This we always quote in Birkat HaMazon. And then following that is the next section, which is Hashem says that when you are in Eretz Israel and you partake of the bounty of Eretz Israel, so now there's a caution that just be careful, because later on it says in the psukim, "V'amarta b'levavecha kochi v'otzim yadi asa li et hachayil hazeh." Moshe already prophesies how the people act, unfortunately, that when you later have prosperity, don't say, you know what, it's my strength, my power of Medinat Israel that brought me all this prosperity. So remember that Hashem, your God, He gave you the power to become prosperous. Okay, so the next, in other words, if we sum up this whole section, it's have confidence, be sure that you conquer Israel, but don't be the dangers of overconfidence. Okay, the next section deals with warning against being self-righteous. It says over there that when you come to Eretz Israel, notice these are all things that are going on in the people's minds. The psukim say, אל תאמר בלבבך בהדוף השם לוקחה אותה מלפניך לאמור בצדקתי הביאני השם לרשת הארץ הזאת ורשעת הגויים האלה השם מורישם מפניך. Don't think to yourself, you know what, why did we inherit Eretz Israel? You know what, because we righteous, the goyim are who are occupying Eretz Israel, they're wicked. So therefore Hashem drove us out and He gave us the land of Eretz Israel. So then goes a long section, half of Parshat Eikev, that Hashem says, don't think that you're so righteous. And then Moshe goes on to remind the Jewish people of the terrible sin of the golden calf, and that how he had to now, he smashed the tablets, and then afterwards what he did was he gave them Luchot Shniyot. And then the Parsha ends off with that to have Yirat Shamayim, the fear of heaven, the awe of heaven, that Eretz Yisrael is a demanding land. What does it mean that it's the demanding land? It means that Eretz Yisrael hasn't got natural resources so much. In other words, it has natural resources, but in order to bring out the greatness of the natural resources, you need rain. It's not that like there's the Nile or the Amazon River or there's rivers in Europe which ensure that there's always a good crops, etc. The Eretz Yisrael is dependent on rain, and rain comes to, like it says in the next section of Parshat Eikev, rain depends on how the Jewish people conduct themselves. As we say every single morning in Shema, and in the evening, Vaya im shamua tishmou, if you listen to Hashem, etc., v'natati mataratzachem beito, then I'll give you the rain in its proper time. So if we take the overview, let's just go through it again. In summary, it speaks about obedience, to be confident that we will conquer Eretz Yisrael. Number 3, not to be overconfident, and because that leads to say that, you know what, we did it, it's our power that did it. Remember, where did we get the power from? Number 3, don't think that because we conquered Eretz Yisrael, we necessarily so self-righteous. It's because we moral and they are wicked. And then it reminds us of how we've also had our failures. Then Eretz Yisrael is a demanding land and reward in punishment. That's the whole Sidra. So what would you say is the one word which captures this Sidra? I think I'd like to introduce it with a Perush that I saw that was emphasized. I first heard this Perush. In other words, Rav Hershel Shechter, Shlita, the Rosh Hashiva in Yeshiva University, he actually pointed this out. He referred to a Perush of the Ein Yaakov in Masechet Sotah, but this is what he said. This is the Gemara in Masechet Sotah, there on Daf Daled, there is a sugya, there's a discussion on the abomination of arrogance, of ga'ava. So there the Gemara starts off the discussion. It says as follows, Minayin le'azarat gasei ruach. It says, from where do we see, when the Torah, is there an azara? Azara means a warning, a cautioning that we're not allowed to be arrogant. And the problem in the language of the Gemara is that the word gasei haruach is in plural. It doesn't say, where is there caution in the Torah against being arrogant. It says, where is there caution in the Torah against being arrogant? In other words, that people in the plural should not be arrogant. And that's not the style of the Gemara, and it's not the style of the Torah to address those things in the plural. So the Ein Yaakov, the Yun Yaakov, he says a most fascinating answer in the Pshat. It's much just to explain the text. But it's so far-reaching. The Yun Yaakov says, that the Gemara is asking that in the plural, because there is an isur, a prohibition, and a cautioning against arrogance, not only from an individual point of view, but from a communal and from a national point of view as well. Isn't that unbelievable? Not only does the individual have to be humble, does there have to be a person not allowed, an individual, to be arrogant, but the nation as a whole right? That is also, a nation as a whole shouldn't conduct itself in a way of arrogance and self-righteousness. And if that is actually what I think is the theme of Parshat Eikev. Parshat Eikev is about humility, but not humility only on the individual level, but it's the injunction that Moshe Rabbeinu is speaking to the nation is about that us as a nation should be humble, that the representatives of the nation, or when we speak in the name of the nation, that what we should do is we should sort of sometimes lower the tone, and sometimes, of course, we can have national pride. Of course, we're very proud of our achievements, and we look forward to developing and to be great as a nation. But the way that we present ourselves, both in the media and to others, to national leaders who come here, it should be always with humility. And that's why notice that if we go through all the Parshiot again in Parshat Eikev, this is what they addressed. When you come now and you, as a nation, you think about the achievements. So remember, the time will come now, you'll conquer Eretz Yisrael and say, we, the nation of Israel, it's because of my might and my technology and tzahal and my military, etc., which did all this for us. Hello? Maybe you should remember that there was a little bit, in inverted commas, of siyata d'shmaya, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's not saying that we didn't do it. It says, but where did you get that koach from? HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us the koach, as the Ran says, to achieve this great power. And then when we speak and we present ourselves as being so great and being so righteous, which we are, and thank God, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us the Torah, so therefore we've got all the wherewithal besides everything to bring out the best in us because HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us the Torah. But just to remember that it would be good to have a little bit of humility, because with all the Torah that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us, did we always keep it? Did we never fail? Only 40 days after the Jewish people got the Torah, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu, only a little bit after that, right, more than that, there was more than 40 days, there was the debacle of the golden calf. Only a few weeks after HaKadosh Baruch Hu revealed himself to all the Jewish people in a state of prophecy. So therefore, we should be, whenever we speak about, on a national point of view, then to do it with the sense of, again, of a little bit of humility. So that's what sums up the parasha. That's what the Inyan Yaakov. Not only is there an obligation for the individual to be humble. This is something which is so basic to be humble, to be a person who doesn't boast. End off with a famous, it's not a story, you can see it, the Sefer Mitzvah Gadol, with one of the Rav Moshe Nikuchi, who wrote, the Smag, who wrote Sefer Mitzvah Gadol. And what he did was, he writes in his introduction that when he counted all the 613 mitzvot, so an angel came to him and said, "It's a great work what you've done. What you've done is magnificent work, but you left out the most important mitzvah of all the 613 mitzvot, and that is you forgot to count now that one of the mitzvot is not to be arrogant." So he had to restructure to count that as a mitzvah, and then to delete one of the other mitzvot in his counting of 613. But we're saying that the chidush of Parshat Eikev is that this applies not only to the individual, but to the nation as well, to the leaders of the nation, or when we, as ambassadors of the nation, or we speak in the name of the nation, that we show this great sense of anava, that we should all have a Shabbat Shalom.